Welcome back to Nutrapreneur, your go-to source for insights into the nutraceutical industry. I'm your host, Bethany. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting Alex Brun, Vice President and Head of Sales and Marketing at Willings Nutraceutical. Since 2002, Willings has been a leader in supplement manufacturing and packaging, known for its dedication to quality, efficiency, and comprehensive client support. Their services cover everything from production to placement on major platforms like Amazon. So it's so great to have you today, Alex. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, really excited to be here and share a little bit about Willings with you.
Yes. So first off, I think it'd be great for you to walk us through Willings Nutraceuticals' approach to maintaining high standards in supplement manufacturing.
No, of course, of course. Having high standards is definitely crucial to grow in this industry. It helps to acquire new customers, but obviously it mainly helps to for current customers and really for them to grow in the best way possible. Overall, we do our best to really maintain high standards everywhere, but just not on the quality side. For example, on the processes, we're currently implementing a new ERP system that will enable us really to monitor more effectively each PO. It will really help us to increase even more the quality, but also lower lead times, provide more frequent and more accurate updates to our customers on the status of each PO. Because as you probably know in the industry, everything wants things yesterday. So all of our customers, they would like lead time to be just a few days, but sometimes it's not possible. So they want updates. So having like an ERP system that is really accurate and has a lot of different status options and where we can really monitor every single aspect of the PO is really crucial. We've also been growing like the sales and marketing team, and we now offer services on like the branding side. So for example, we can help brands to develop a new product, really find the right product format for them. Sometimes customers, they come and they're like, oh, I would like a gummies for something. And we're like, okay, with the formulation that you have, maybe like a capsule is going to be a better fit for you. You don't have to worry about the taste because some of your ingredients could be a little bit bitter, for example. So we're really trying to help them through that. Sometimes we have to adjust a little bit the formulation. So we have an in-house formulator who can really assist with that. And finally, we really try to guide them to the high-level marketing strategy, and we really want to make sure that, we are making good products for our customers, and these products will be effective for the end users, and that's really what is really driving the success for both Willings and our customers. So it really comes by having high standards overall, but just not on the quality, really in the whole process over the board.
Yes, absolutely. And you are definitely right about this being a fast-paced industry. And you mentioned, you work with a few product formats. So with a variety of products like capsules and powders, how does Willings ensure uniform quality across all of their products?
Yeah, like all of our products, have very set procedures on how we run things. It is obviously specific for each product type. And all of these procedures have really been clearly detailed in all of the SOPs that we have. And we really developed them over the last 20 years. It's really a process that takes time. So we're frequently updating all of these SOPs every time that we find out something, that could be like a little bit optimized. We always try to optimize optimize and update these SOPs. And so we developed all of that based on the guidelines of both NSF and FDA to make sure that all products are always compliant with the highest quality standards.
That's great. Yeah, documentation is so important in this industry, especially when you're manufacturing products and you're trying to produce high quality products. You want to make sure that your procedures are very detailed and that you have a lot of documentation and records to provide for regulatory agencies.
Exactly.
And so with technology, what role would you say technology plays in your manufacturing and packaging processes? And how does it help you maintain your promise of fast turnaround times?
So it plays a huge role. That's definitely, technology is really like the keystone for our industry. So on top of that, it's evolving very, very quickly. So on one side, we have the technology really used for internal processes. So for example, we're updating the ERP system right now. All of the technology used to capture data throughout the process. So it could be scanners, for example, in the warehouse. It could be connected scales. So you make sure that like every single thing that you weigh has the correct weight. No one made like a mistake in a translation or read it somewhere. No, it comes directly from the actual scale. We're really trying to add more and more integration with this system. The goal is really to quickly identify choke points that we may have and to improve our processes to make things more efficient and obviously faster. On the other side, we have the machines that we use. We're constantly having new machines with improved technology. It really forces us to both, train our teams to use these new technologies, but it also offers significant improvements. So not just on the speed and quality, but also in what we can offer. For example, we recently installed a gummy packaging machine that uses AI and image recognition to sort and count the gummies. So the concept is relatively simple, but it was pretty new for this industry. So basically, you are training the AI machine on the type, the shape, the color of the gummies, and once set up, the machine is going to automatically sort the gummies to make sure that like the ones that are not fully formed are rejected, to make sure that like you have uniform count and mix. So each bottle has the correct count, and they have all a very consistent mix when you're doing different flavors or different colors in there, which before was not necessarily possible with some of the previous machines where you still had a pretty sometimes significant margin for error. Like in this one, you have virtually no error at all. But on the other side, you also have like a lot of new packaging solutions. So you don't just improve what has been there for a long time. You have new packaging solutions. For example, you have a lot of variations right now around like stick pack, sachet, protein powder. They used to only come in like these big plastic jars, and now they come more and more into pouches. So it's way more efficient. You put more on like one pallet, so it saves a lot on transport. It's more efficient for more customers, also really like that. So it's also a marketing advantage as well. But on that side, we have to adapt because you cannot fill, a big jar that is always open the same way you're going to fill like a pouch. So we need to have new machines and just to train the team to stay on top of the game for that.
Oh, that's amazing that you have all of those offerings and, utilizing AI is incredible because I've seen that where, gummy bottles will have the incorrect count. And I know it's because the previous equipment was unable to really count and sort through the different shapes and colors and sizes, like you mentioned.
Yeah, no, it's really amazing to see. It does take a little bit of time to set up, so we're definitely keeping that for larger POs, but it's very effective once it's set up.
Yeah, that's amazing. And Willings is also renowned for its customer service. So, how do you tailor your services to meet the unique needs of your diverse client base?
Yeah, it's a great question because we really have customers all over the world in so many different spaces. Some companies they really specialize in like one or two different product type and on like one or two countries. But here we have like sports supplement brands in the US. We work with some of the biggest fish oil brands from Europe. We work with some large e-commerce brands in China. So like customer base is definitely really broad and they have like different requirements. So we really need to adapt to them and find the best way to service them. So there's a lot of many different ways we can do that. So for example, we can really try to be flexible on MOQs. That's really the number one question. You go to a trade show, sometimes people, they come to your booth, no question, oh, what's your MOQs on this product? Like that's really like the major pain point in our industry. The thing that you have specific requirements when it comes to that. So we try to be as flexible as we can on that to really adapt. So for example, we can have like more POs more often for less quantity to better accommodate distributors because a lot of them they do not want to have 4, 6, 8 months worth of inventory on hand. So for example, instead of having a PO of 30,000 bottles every 6 months, we would split that into 3 POs of 10,000 every 2 months. This way we can just refill the inventory of the distributor more often. We don't have this large PO that a lot of distributors are unhappy about. It works better for our customers. It works better for us as well. So it kind of like makes sense on that side. But what we can do as well, we have things like the way we are stacking pallets a certain way to really accommodate their warehouse. Some of them, they have like specific height requirements, for example. So we are like making some arrangement on that side. On the billing side as well, some customers, they like to be billed for each PO separately, when others, they like to have one bill per month, or they have specific, payment requirements, payment terms. So we always try to adapt there where we can. Obviously, you always try to have like kind of like a uniform process for everyone, but that's where we learned that like if you try to be a little bit too rigid with your own processes, you cannot really grow because everyone works a different way. It's also true on like the culture side as well. The way you're doing business with customers in China or people in Europe or people here in the US is very different. So something that is really important for us and that works really well is like to really have a multicultural team. So just here, like on the front office here in the at Willings, we have 5 or 6 different nationalities. We have people from Pakistan, we have people from China. As you can tell, I'm not really from the US with my accent. I'm originally coming from France, and we have people from Ukraine. We have people from Lebanon. So we have pretty big international team, and we're really trying to leverage that to really to try to adapt to the cultural requirements and how people like to be treated and to do business with. On the other side, though, we try to adapt, it's great, but sometimes we have requirements that we cannot change at all. So for example, we're looking at like blender machines for the new facilities we're working on. Some of them, they have amazing blending time. You have a really uniform blend, all of that. It's great. It saves a lot of time and everything, but you have a minimum weight that you need to put in there. You cannot put 25, 50 kg in there. You need to put like 100, 250, 300 kg. So sometimes you have MOQs that are set by technical requirements. So you cannot really, adapt there on this specific point. So although we always try also to store as much inventory as possible because some vendors they have really high MOQs, typically patented ingredients, or when you have new shape of containers or new colors or things like this, the MOQs are pretty high. So what we try to do is to store as much as possible. So we make big POs with them, and then we resell directly and we provide that for our customers. So one, it really helps to reduce lead times. And on the other side, we have big savings because as the quantities when we order increases, like sometimes the savings can be like quite substantial. So we can pass on these savings to our customers. So it definitely takes a little bit to adjust to all of that and to have such a big inventory to manage. But at the end of the day, that really helps a lot for our customers. So obviously, always trying to accommodate customers as much as we can. But as I said, sometimes you have requirements that are kind of like dictated either by technical requirements or sometimes just some vendors. But we do what we can.
This episode is brought to you by NutraPayments.com. If your business needs credit card processing that fully integrates with most major Nutra software platforms, offers the lowest industry prices, and has built-in features like recurring billing, $0 trials, and chargeback prevention, then visit us at NutraPayments.com for a free online quote. And we've talked a lot about compliance and quality, which I think is crucial in the nutraceutical industry. So can you explain how Willings meets the stringent standards set by NSF, GMP, and USDA certifications?
Yes, so all of our procedures, they are clearly detailed in all of the SOPs that I mentioned earlier. So we developed these SOPs, over the last 20 years now. And all of these SOPs are based on the guidelines of NSF and FDA. So all of the audits that we had in the past few years with NSF and FDA, we always rank grade A or higher, So we're really proud of that. And like these results really speaks volume for us because we really try to keep our standards as high as possible. So when we do get an audit, you always stress a little bit because an audit is like, it feels like a test when you're a kid at school. But like when they leave, they're happy with the way you're conducting your facility, it always feels great.
Yes, absolutely. Those auditors can make you a little nervous, but it's important to have them come in and definitely important to maintain those certifications.
Exactly.
And another big aspect of this industry has become Amazon. So as many businesses strive to excel on Amazon, what specific support does Willings provide to brands that are looking to succeed on the Amazon platform?
So we really offer different levels of support. So for example, from setting up the PO's quantities and pallet requirements that Amazon needs, because Amazon is such a big distributor that like when they reject something, you just have to adapt. They're not going to adapt to you. So you need to know their requirements. We also have, marketing and branding support, with more than 20 years of experience in the space across many different categories. We know what customer like. We can really recommend like the right quantity. For example, the count of gummies per bottle, what is going to work well with customers. We're helping brands, to really create the right product for the right audience. Sometimes we help them, to just twist a little bit the formulation. Just to have also the best price possible. So sometimes we have to work with them to just find, the right supplier. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to, to select the right vendor so we can achieve the right price. But on Amazon, if you cannot have a good product that's going to have good reviews at a competitive price, like it's really going to be very tricky. And on the regulation side as well, products that are produced in an NSF certified facility, they tend to rank higher on Amazon. So the fact that we have that is a big, big plus. And now Amazon, they recognize the NSF ANSI 455.2 certification, a little bit technical.
Mhm.
But basically, it's for the GMP program. So when you have this certification, um, Amazon, they finally recognize that. So it's a huge plus to have it. So since we have both NSF and SF Sport certification at Willings, it really helps a lot of customers and it's a game changer for some of them, especially, like the sports side, all of this like protein powder, pre-workout mix and all of these things, like they really care a lot about having NSF and SF Sport. So that's something that we can offer. But overall, I would still add that more and more brands are trying to do direct to consumers. Most of the startup that we are working with, they try to kind of like bypass platform like Amazon because their requirements and even their fees, can be pretty high and tricky to deal with. So we see a lot of brands that are just trying, to just bring people on their own platform, on their own website, and do that only. So we need to adapt, to Amazon and have the right way to do that. But I definitely see a trend where more and more brands are trying to do without.
That's great. I think, being able to help customers that do want to sell on Amazon and help them be successful there is great. And then also helping those that do just want to do the D2C platform, because I'm seeing that as well. A lot of people are starting to move away from Amazon or other areas where they have those huge fees. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
No, it's definitely tricky, especially with the prices you need to set your products at, on Amazon. Sometimes like the margins can be a little bit small, so totally understand why brands would like to do that. But at the same time, for the convenience of customers to be able to offer that, capability, it's just you cannot do without sometimes.
Yeah, it all just kind of depends on your business model, I guess. So looking ahead, what trends do you see shaping the future of nutraceutical manufacturing, and how is Willings preparing to meet these changes?
And so overall, we see really big changes coming. So not only on the manufacturing side, but also really on the packaging side. So there's always kind of like this race to the hot new thing going on. But now we have, a lot of successful products that emerge in the space. For example, you have things like creatine and protein powder. They are here to stay. They have such strong customer base. They have proven results. So this we see the demand for that keeps like going up. So for example, on that side, we always try to innovate and have like new flavors, have ways to always improve like the quality, lead times, and things like that, because we know these products are here to stay. On the other side, for example, we have things like creatine gummies. So these were pretty hot recently because taking creatine, it's like this powder that you have to mix. It doesn't really have any kind of like flavor, but like it's not always the easiest way to take it. A gummy was very, very convenient. But you had quite a few studies that came out that like, just showed that the concentration of creatine that you were supposed to have in each gummy was absolutely not the reality. So now we're working with like a gummy partner who is working on a technical solutions to try to have creatine gummies that will finally have a high level of creatine in there. So they will definitely have a little bit of marketing to do with the consumers, because now they learn that like, you either need to take a lot or you need to really buy the high quality one. But that's one side as well, where like, there's a trend coming, but you have to be careful with that. So you really have to learn, is it a good solution? Is it the right product? Is it the right way to deliver that? And on the other side, you have things like artificial sweeteners. Right now, they're getting a lot of bad rep. You have studies that are coming out that are mentioning, some potential risk that you may have with that. So a lot of brands and consumers are really obsessed with the zero sugar approach, but it doesn't seem to always be the best one. So natural sweeteners and a reasonable amount of sugar could be a good approach, or just trying to find an alternative solution. Other type of like sweeteners that could work, where you still retain this kind of like zero sugar benefit that a lot of brands and consumer want, but at least you have something else that is different from what everyone is doing in the space. So definitely a lot of research there. What we have as well, we have also a partner that we've been working with for a really, really long time, who's working on a totally new type of product. So I cannot say too much about that right now, but it would be kind of a mix between a tablet and a gummy, where you kind of like have the best of both worlds. So definitely stay tuned on that, but we should be able to offer that very, very soon. So really excited about this. And last thing, that I want to mention, it's definitely the regulations. Regulations are always evolving. Overall, the space has tight regulation when it comes to manufacturing and packaging, but brands are relatively free to put whatever they want in the product. Like the regulations are relatively loose on that side. We know that the FDA is working on tighter regulations there, so we really try to stay, ahead of the game on that side. Really know what is going to come. There's definitely, some products that could potentially pose a risk to some consumers, so there might be more ingredients banned, for example, or at least more regulation on that side. Just like it's the case right now, with CBD products, where the regulation are a little bit all over the place, depending on the states or the federal level. So we always try to stay on top of that to know how to do things and how to make quality products. So that's the long answer to your question.
Yes. So Willings always has to be up to speed and educated so that you're able to educate your clients as well and make sure that they understand why you might say no to things or why you might suggest making adjustments to their formulation that they have an idea about, like with the creatine gummies, for instance. I think it's sometimes hard to conceptualize what you're taking in a giant scoop of powder isn't going to fit into just a few gummies.
Exactly. Exactly. And each product is different. So that's why when you look at a formulation, like sometimes you need the advice of experts to really know what is the best product type. Some brand owners that come to us and they have these ideas, oh, I want to put these products into a tiny gummy. It's like, yeah, it's a great idea, but it's not going to work. So sometimes you have to negotiate a little bit with them.
Yes. And what advice would you give to upcoming entrepreneurs in the nutraceutical industry, especially in areas that are related to manufacturing?
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, compliance is really, really important, which is why we have a growing team here focusing on quality and compliance. Like the process, to follow can be very tricky, especially when you're new to the space. From how do you end up with your expiration date? Which testing is required for each batch, for each product when you release that. So there's a lot of steps that you need to take that we really need to guide customer on. But overall, I would say the couple of advices that I have for the upcoming entrepreneurs, the first thing is definitely do your homework, read and research. Like we obviously have no problem to educate customers and to give them advice, all of that, but there is so much going on that you need to have an idea of what you get yourself into, because it is not as easy as some people might think. It is easier when you have a good partner, but it still has a lot of requirements in the space. Also, I would say follow what you learn from your personal experience. It makes you motivated when you're connected to kind of the topic, the product. You understand really the challenge. And overall, passion, I always say it's a great engine when you start a project. So when you really creating a product around a personal need, usually it tends to be very, very successful. Also, you need to really take the time to select the right manufacturing and packaging partner. We're getting quite a few customers who are struggling with their previous manufacturing and packaging partner. Sometimes you have different philosophies going on, but product quality, packaging issues, it can really make a big difference when you have partners that try to bring solutions rather than just adding more challenges to your plate. When you're trying to launch a new business, you want to make your life easy. So finding the right partner is definitely key. and take the time to discuss with them, visit their facilities, see how they're doing things. Like, I think it's really important. And next, I would say really take the time to understand your audience, your brand, your product. Like, we can obviously, guide you through the process, but we've seen some startup brands, growing exponentially in a few months by having, solid strategy, and having really the right product, and others who have, relatively slow start by rushing to launch something because they saw a lot of other brands doing it. The reality is that, like, when you have a product that, like, 5, 10, 20 other brands are already doing, that you offer the exact same thing, it's either going to take you a lot of investment marketing wise to make it successful, or you're just not going to succeed at all. You really need to add something on top. So taking the time to really understand the market, really understand the product, and really think, about, like, what do you want to do, what do you want to achieve, and what makes your brand special. This is what is going to make you successful.
Yes, that's all such great advice. And that wraps up today's deep dive into the world of nutraceutical manufacturing with Alex Brun of Willings Nutraceutical. Alex, thank you for sharing your invaluable insights and the exciting developments at Willings. For our listeners looking to learn more about Willings Nutraceutical or to explore their services, check out the links that we've provided. Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts on today's episode on social media. Join us next time on Nutrapreneur for more cutting-edge discussions. Stay informed and stay inspired.